How's it going? Ryan here. Today I'm going to go over the one trade that I took on SPY. Happened to be a small loser. Um, Looked like it was on play out really nice. Just happened to go the other way, and sometimes that's the way trades play out. We'll go over that trade, why I entered, what I was looking at. But first, we're on the daily time frame here. Just a few levels to mention. We have the top of this gap, we have this gap down, so we have the level at the top of that gap. We also have this level at the top of this range, where we topped out pretty much 3 times in the past week or so, past week or two. We have the bottom of that range as well, right around 433. We have 431.7 or 0.8 ish. It comes from the weekly time frame, but also you can see on the daily. So the impact that's had, 430 flat. We have 426.4 ish. You can see the bottom of this range here. We have this 424 and 420 at the bottom of this range. So those are levels we're watching. We have some levels on a smaller time frame that we'll hop into on the 15-minute. So we have this trend line coming down from Thursday's pre-market to yesterday's high of days. And then we have yesterday's low of day as well. So let's jump into it. Let's talk about the trade, why I took it, what I was looking at. We opened up the day below yesterday's low of day, so we were outside of yesterday's range. Generally a good indicator that you'll get a trending day is when you break out of a previous day's range and don't stay within it. So we had that going. We broke below yesterday's low of day, opened up below that, came up, tested that low of day, and rejected. On the rejection from that level, we also broke below this 433 from the daily time frame. You can see it acted as support a few times here, but we also started to form this trend line from the pre-market through the first few minutes of the day. So rejected off that previous day low, came through, broke through this trend line and this level on high, increasing volume, came up and got a retest. This is where I entered puts. The idea was to play puts down to this next level here, 431.8. I took 432 strike, so slightly out of the money, looking for those contracts to become in the money at this point, where my price target is. If we look at the 2-minute, so I was looking at the 2-minute and the 5-minute, both of which were looking really good for this trade. So you can see that support that we had here bounced off at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. We are also holding this 433. So when we broke both of these on a very high volume red candle, came up, retested. I took puts on, this is 8. I took puts on this candle right here, which allowed me to have a really good risk to reward. So my risk was if we broke above 433, if we reclaim that level, that's what I would get. That's where my stop loss was. Is on a break above that level, pretty much a convincing break. That's the word I'm looking for, a convincing break above that level. So in here, as we're coming up and we're testing the trend line in this 433 and rejecting and closing below it, I felt pretty good about this trade. Broke support, broke key level on high volume, like I said, retesting, getting rejected, closing below those levels. That is a trade that I would take 10 out of 10 times. That's an actual amazing setup for me. Broke out of a trend, broke below a key level on increasing volume. We're retesting and closing below that level on both the 2-minute and the 5-minute. Just confirmation in numerous ways. However, you can see how this next few candles played out, and actually, usually, breaking below, selling off, breaking below the previous day's low indicates weakness. But you can see here that we actually had an uptrending day. Up until this point, I guess the trend changes at that point. But for the whole morning and some of the afternoon, just a rally straight up. So that's where the opportunities were in this situation. But in the morning, if you disregard that and you're seeing this sell off, break below, retest, break trend line, retest, that looks like a continuation. So Not a bad trade in my book. I stuck to my risk to reward, so I've sold somewhere right in here. I think once we broke above 433.1, so somewhere up in here, right above that top of that wick. I'm glad I did. If had I waited to see if this pulled back any longer, we rallied pretty much. This is a 2-minute chart, so you can see the move that we got, and in just a few minutes, in 8 minutes, we went from 433 or 432.8 to almost 434.7. So big move, and that's why you cut your losses. That is why you stick to your stop loss. Don't skirt that. Don't ignore it. Don't say, well, I'll just stick around and see if it plays out. Surely it can't go up. Don't do that. Set a stop loss. Have an idea of where you want to get out of the trade before you even enter it, and stick to that, please, because things like this will burn you. Even though that setup's looking gold, even though when it was pushing up I didn't want to believe that it was going to do this, I still cut, and I'm glad I did. Obviously not glad I lost, but that's just part of it. It will happen even on a setup that looks really nice like that. So that's what we played. The only trade I took on this particular day, we did get a bull flag here that I called out. I didn't trade it. I was looking for a pullback and retest of this trend line. We didn't get that. We exploded out of there. Option contracts went up like 60% on this move right here. Same day expiration. I looked at 435, and from here to here, it's crazy. So there were some opportunities. There's a lot of like flag breaks, a lot of breakouts to the upside. You just have them over and over again. They're everywhere, really. A break above that trend line, retest, break out of that flag. That's a nice potential scalp. You have the exact opposite. You have a break out of the support, comes down. Yeah, there's some opportunities. I was gone by this point in the day, right around 8:30, 8:40. That was my end of the day. So didn't trade any of this. Like I said, the only trade I took was this. I really like the risk to reward. I got in close to where my stop would be. That allowed me out of a pretty small loss relative. So it's the only trade I took. I appreciate you watching. I hope you learned something from that. I do trade live every Monday through Friday. If you want to stop by, say what's up. We encourage that. It's fun to interact with people and see what people are thinking. We also have a Discord. It is free. It's a small group of traders. We just try to level up, share ideas, get better. We trade together occasionally. So if you're interested in that, just drop a comment, send me a message. We'll get you that invite. And yeah, that's all I have for you. I appreciate you watching. Thank you again. I hope you have a great day. Goodbye.